Hello. Hi, it's Dawn. Welcome to my art room. Today, in this video, I'm going to be starting a new project where I want to make a fabric bowl made from wrapped cord. Wait on, I'm just going to empty the one that I've got so I can show you what I'm talking about. And I realised it wasn't quite as organised as I wanted to be. So this is the first one that I did. Oh, no, it's not the first one. I've done lots. But this is one that I have for me. I've given them away as gifts and everybody likes them. So I did this one on the machine and I thought I could have a go at this, at making it handmade, because I really want to make a small one. This is my little scrap bowl that I have on my work table, and I've always, putting stuff in it, and yeah. So I thought I would like to have a go at a small one, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to talk to you about how I do it. So in our local hardware Bunnings here in Australia, they sell this cotton sash cord way cheaper than buying it through like a craft store or a haberdashery type store. It's cotton. It's a cotton cord. It says it's a 5mm and there's 25 meters, way more than you actually need. But it's sold for sashing on blinds and it's perfect. So I thought before I open it, I wanted to show you what this looked like so that you might be able to find it as well. And the way that this project works, oh, that was a bit of a crunchy noise, is wrapping the cord with fabric. And I've just picked, oh dear, sorry, I'm clearing my throat, I have these fabrics that I had enough of. I've, just torn some fabric strips. Sometimes when you start tearing, it starts off, and I've torn 1-inch strips. Can you see? No, you can't see. They're 1-inch strips. Well, I start off with 1-inch strips. Maybe not, but anyway, close enough. The first strip often ends up being a little bit different at one end than it is at the other. That doesn't matter. I just wanted to show you basically how I go about it. And I've already torn some strips. So this one here, I couldn't decide whether I wanted to go this way or this way, and I've decided to go this way. And by just, it's a very that'll do kind of measurement. It doesn't need to be that precise. Love that sound. With some fabrics, you do need to be careful, because what happens when you start to rip it, you can often pull the thread crossways. Just happens with the weave. This is just a simple cotton patchwork fabric. I happen to have it in this colourway. No rhyme nor reason really. And so I've just torn myself. I have 3 different designs. I have this floral one, I have this one with some birdies on it, and this one with hearts on it, all the same colour. You can do whatever you want. If you want to, with this one, I actually put some plain in just as a, just because, no other reason. Mostly the fabrics go together. This one I did on the machine and it's zigzag stitched. I'm going to do this one that I'm doing with you today all by hand. I don't want to use the machine. I just want to do it by hand. And so with this cord, it's a bit of a hit and miss. I don't know how much I need. I can't measure it. We could measure it at the end, but just right now, I'm not going to measure it. So with one of your fabrics, whichever one you choose, with the end of the cord, I just wrap it to start with, just to cover the end, fold it over a couple of times, and then really just start wrapping it. Try and wrap it on an angle because that will give you a slightly better finish if it's on an angle. It takes a few, I just start getting, it just takes a little while. It's not a horrible length of time, but it's just a matter of wrapping it on a bit of an angle so that you're going to get the best use out of your fabric, and having it on that angle gives you it kind of stretches around the cord. So you just keep wrapping it until you get to the end of one, and then you start with the next one. And so it's a good idea to just keep wrapping for a bit. You might find that you wrap enough, more than enough, or not enough. And it's going to be dependent on the size of the bowl that you want. I want a really little one, and what we'll be doing is like going through. So as far as the print is concerned, it probably won't show up well if it's got a distinct pattern that you want to actually reproduce. I would suggest don't go with that. Like I can see hearts here, and that'll be all right. We'll just see what happens because I don't know how the others will work. I've got three, like I said, I've got 3 prints. I'm going to do them one after the other as a repetitive pattern, but they do all have the same colour background. These extra threads, just pull them off. Keep it going. It does take a bit of cord, and dependent on the size of bowl or receptacle, you can make them round, you can make them oblong. It just depends on the shape that you start off with as a base. My intention today is to make one that's round, and I only want a little one. I want one probably about that size, where this one is much bigger. I only want one this size, so it won't be very big. I just want it for my threads. So when I get to the end here, pick another piece of fabric. Have your fabrics ready to go, and I start by overlapping where I already was so that I catch the bottom fabric and the top fabric. You want to hold it, you want to have a bit of tension on it, so you want to make sure that it wraps quite tightly. You don't want it to be coming loose, that's for sure. And you just keep going. That's the way to go about it. So what I might do is, now that I've got you started, sometimes putting your cord on the floor, putting your fabric on the floor, just something that, because as you can see, it starts to coil a little bit. You want to release that tension in it, and sometimes having the cord on the floor beside you just helps to relieve that. I've ripped my fabrics, so I do have a bit of fluffiness going on here, and I'm good with that. If you want to cut yours with a rotary cutter or something and not have it quite so fluffy, go for it. You might find that it does go fluffy after a while. I'm going to throw my cord on the floor while I continue, and I'll continue doing this and come back to you in a second. Okay. Just make sure when you're joining fabrics together that you actually go back over the edge, the join, just so that it doesn't unravel. One of mine did, and so I thought it was important to come back and tell you that. This one just is being obstreperous. I don't know why. I'm going to have another go at that one. I'm going to go back over it and just make sure I'm putting a fair bit of tension on it, just to sort of make sure that it stays wrapped, because the cord can fight against you a little bit. Yep. And going on that angle so that you're not wrapping straight helps to bind them together. But like I said, I am putting a bit of a strain on it, so a bit of holding a bit of tension. Goodness, I've got everything going on here. Get rid of that for a minute. I'm gonna just let this one dangle beside me. Gosh, what's with that cord? That's just like crazy. All right, let that one dangle. Let this side dangle, and so everybody's not fighting with each other. Get this fabric going here. And keeping it going on that angle. That's the important one. That's good. So it's almost stretching it over the cord. Okay, so when you get to that end bit again, sort of double back a little bit so that you're catching all of the ends in. Otherwise they just unravel. It does tend to sort of coil a bit, so just be a little bit patient with both your unwrapped cord and your wrapped cord, because they will fight against each other a little bit. Just give it a bit of a jiggle. Give it a bit of a jiggle. Hopefully I'm on screen. I think I am. Yeah, see how it... And I'm just got it going on the floor beside me. One on one side, one on the other. I've wrapped a couple of meters for now. I may need more. I may not need all of it, but we'll worry about that when we get to it. Okay, cool. I'm going to put a little pin in there just to hold the fabric to the cord. Like I said, I've probably wrapped a couple of meters of cord. All right, I've threaded up my crochet cotton because I think having something a bit stronger is important. I'm not sure if I already told you about this one, but it's just a DMC crochet cotton. I thought it would look all right with this. So starting your coil from the start here, we want to make sure that we've tucked in all of those ends nice and neat and tidy. So making a little coil like that so that it sits against each other. We'll pop a pin in it just to hold it till we get started. Once you get started, it's not too bad. With your thread, bury the knot in. The thing that we want to do is join one piece of cord to the other piece of cord. And so, that was a good knot. Good knot. All right, I'll have another go at that one. I have chosen a long needle so that I can, a fairly robust needle. I don't have the size, I'm sorry. So what I want to do is make sure that I've caught one side of the rope and its fabric to the other. So where this coil has gone around here, I'm just going to put a couple of stitches in there to get started. Make sure we've caught everything. It's not going to unravel. Catch, I think that one's could do with a little bit more stitch there, just to hold it in place. And so we want to go from this one to this side here. And I'm just going to do it as an overstitch. I don't know how else to describe that. So we're going to go back to the middle part from underneath and back to that outside piece, catching the cord and the fabric, because that's what we want to do. Hold it together. Again, back to the centre. In parts it won't look as neat. Underneath it may not look as neat as we would maybe think it should, but I think it'll be all right. Good. All right, that's not going to come undone. It's got some cord, it's got some threads that are on funny angles, but from the inside it should look fine. Catch it again through there. The underneath seems to have a bigger stitch for some funny reason. I don't know why. It's weird, isn't it? It's a bit like your embroidery, having the underneath side and the on the looking slightly different to the top. So it's going fine here. Again, catching this circle to this circle, and that's what we want to do. Okay, I'm going to keep going. I'll keep stitching without you because we've already mucked about here for a little bit. All I'm going to do is keep going till I've got the size of the base of my container that I'm happy with, and then I'll come back to you. Okay. As you can see, I've continued going around here. I've calculated 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm on the 5th round here. I worked out my original amount of fabric was about 1.5 meters of strips, and I don't have a huge amount left, so I've torn myself 3 more strips ready to go. But I've decided that those 5 rounds is about what I think the base would want to be. And so now I want to come up and start shaping the upper part of to make it a bowl shape. And so rather than putting my coils directly on top of the other, I want to lift it a little slightly so it's on an angle. So rather than sitting flat, I'm going to now just lift it slightly so it will begin to make that bowl shape, and still stitching it the way we were doing it by just doing that overcast stitch, but holding the cord just up a bit. I hope that makes sense. My fingers sort of like helping to hold that shape. Oh, excuse me, hold that shape so that it's sitting almost like on the top of the rope rather than beside it. Maybe that's a better way to describe it. And that will start to bring the bowl shape up. So it's still just doing it the same way, but rather than doing it flat this way, we're coming in on a bit of an angle here. So you'll soon see as we go along that it's starting to come up. So if I show you from the other side, you can see that rather than the stitches coming in here now, they're coming here. And it's just a gradual incline. We don't want to come straight up, because otherwise you're not gonna have a nice rounded bowl. You're gonna have a cylinder, and you know what? You might want that. You might want it to be a cylinder. I'm so sorry. I noticed in that last little bit of footage that I did tend to go off the screen a bit. So I hopefully it was only a few seconds that I could see, and hopefully that wasn't too frustrating for you. Here's where the stitches will start to probably bury themselves a bit more. You won't notice them quite as much as what you were here, but you'll see the stitches have held it in nice and flat. On the front, it's sort of the stitches are going on an angle, the back is going on an angle. If you want those stitches to look differently, then you might need to concentrate on how to make that happen. I don't know how to make that happen, but I'm all right with how it looks. So hopefully you won't feel too frustrated by it. But if you see now, you can see that cord shape there just starting to lift. And I'm doing it on the sort of side almost of the rope rather than the flat of it. So I'll do a couple of rows like this, and then I might, that stitch didn't go quite in the same place that I wanted it to go. I don't know what happened there. Oh, I missed a bit. Sorry. It was that bit of material that made it look like I'd put a stitch in there, and I hadn't. If there's a stitch in it that looks a bit ugly, just pull it out and change it. There's no point putting up with things that you don't really like. You might find that you can do a different look to a stitch than what I do. Now, this is starting to run out, so it's going to keep coming out of the needle because the needle's so long. The heater is going, is what you can hear, and you can hear the dishwasher because we've had tea and it's night time now. and it's quite cool outside. We had a massive thunderstorm before. It really dropped the temperature down quite a bit. So I'm sorry if you can hear that noise. I'm almost round to where I started to curve it up. So you can see here where it's starting to tip over. It's not supersonically fast job, but quite satisfying when you're doing something like this by hand. I find it satisfying anyway. And I just wanted to make this little thread scrappy, you know, for my thread bits when I'm stitching, somewhere to put my ends when I'm sitting on the couch doing some embroidery. I thought I've done a bit of that lately. I've just been sitting in my art room doing stuff. By the time I get to night time, I'm a bit done with stitching. Just happens sometimes. I can find, see, this is where I've got fabric joined. I'm just going to be mindful of that I can make sure that I catch those edges in. But if I don't catch it in this round, I'll catch it in the next one. And that other bowl I've had for a really long time hasn't come, I haven't lost anything. I'm going to end this thread off because it's just starting to annoy me, but you can see, hopefully, that it's just starting to go up around the edges. I'm going to keep going with this. I'm going to need to join some more fabric. Like I said, I've got my strips ready to go. Let's just tie that one off there and add a bit more. I'll wrap a bit more thread, a bit more fabric, because I think that I'm going to need it. This is all I've got left, and while I think it'll come around a bit, as you can see, it might come close to being. Oh, that's 3 meters. I haven't wrapped any more yet. I'll wait and see how I go. I'm going to keep going. This will get caught up in the next round around. Hopefully you're stitching along with me and you're able to follow these instructions. I'll do a couple of rounds on this angle, just slightly building it out a little bit more till I'm happy with it, and then I might straighten up a bit more, or even just keep it going on that angle so that I've got like a scooped sort of shape. Let's see what happens. I'll be back in a little second. I think I've gone around about at least once, if not a little bit more than once, around while I'm continuing to build the rope on top of the previous round. And I've noticed that the stitches are burying themselves more into the fabric, which is great. So the way that I'm doing it from the outside is positioning my needle to go upwards through the rope, because we really do want to make sure that we're catching the rope and not just the very edge of the fabric. And so coming up through the rope from the outside, then from the inside positioning my needle down rather than straight across, positioning it down through it, so that again you should be able to feel the resistance with the needle. It's not hard to pull through because the rope it's easy to sew through, but we want to catch it. And I think if you don't catch it, so from the underneath one, directing your needle upwards to the inside so that it's going on that angle, so from the outside through to the inside. and then the reverse with the top layer going, directing your needle downwards, which is catching, whoops, which is catching both those layers there. And you'll see as the further we go around, the more it goes up, which is exactly what I wanted it to do. Hopefully, if you're having a go at this, it's working in the same way for you. I'm quite happy with how it's going. I think it's exactly what I wanted it to look like, because I did just want this little thing that would sit on my side table next to the couch, that I can just put my snippings in. I don't have to catch, you know, big pieces of fabric. It's just my needle, my thread bits when I'm stitching along. Good. I haven't had to add any more fabric yet, so this is basically I'm still working with approximately 3 meters of cord that it's covered with fabric. Every now and then you want to just make sure that your needle is going where you want it to go. It's not heading off in another direction. And as you can see, the stitches are starting to bury themselves in here. If you don't want to make a feature of the thread, I'd suggest using something that matches, which will help it to disappear even more. But my recommendation is you go with something that's got a bit of strength, that you can actually pull it and make sure that it pulls up quite tight. But it's getting there. Yeah, you don't want to go between, because that's not going to hold it together. You do need to make sure that it goes through. This one just wants to not do that. Go up a little bit higher. Because yeah, if you go through between the layers, you're going to have a hole, you know. And you might like that as a design feature, but I don't want that a hole. I mean, you can make, if you wanted a little handle, then that's the way you would do it. You would finish it off here and then restart it here, and you'd have a little handle. You might want to do that as you get up to the top, but that's how you do it. I probably won't do that on this. When I finish, I'll show you how to create an oval shape, but I need to finish what I'm doing first, and I'll do that right at the end if that's the shape that you would prefer. Once you get the hang of it, you can pretty much do whatever you want with it. Make it do things. Like I said, if you want to create a hole, you can create a hole. You've just got to stop, restart and go round. But if you want to have a feature of like a stripe, you would need to adjust your fabric wrapping to make that happen. But I'm happy to have this all the same colour, really. It was just fabric that I had enough of to do some strips that I didn't think that I was going to miss. It doesn't take very much fabric because it's only 1-inch strips. All right, I'll keep going. You can see how it's definitely coming up. The shape's coming up, and it's up to you how much you want. You can make it come up really sharp, or you can make it come up more gradual, which is what I'm doing. Yeah, you can manipulate it a little bit, but I think it's going to look good. I'm getting close to feeling happy about the size of my bowl. I'm wondering if you're following along with me, how your bowl's going. It's the same process for whatever size you want. So far I've used 3 meters of strips, so that's 3 meters of cord, but I feel like I still want it to be a little bit higher, and so I've just been, it's quite solid. The stitches you can see, should I have used matching thread? I don't know, maybe, but I actually don't mind that the stitches can be seen. It's kind of part of the pattern, and I think once it's done, you won't really notice it. I won't notice it. I'm okay with it. If you would prefer not to see all those stitches, then by all means use a matching thread. But I didn't have, number one, I didn't have this colour in a crochet cotton, but I probably wouldn't, well, you could use sewing thread, but I would recommend using it double, because I don't think that it's strong enough to use in a single way. So I've, as you can see, I'm almost at the end, so I'm going to start wrapping another piece. I've cut myself 3 more pieces of the same fabric and just wrapping it over the end of where the last one finished, and then going on that angle again, making sure that you are wrapping it as tightly to the cord as you possibly can, simply because as you begin to stitch, you'll notice that sometimes the needle just goes through the fabric, and so you want it to go through the cord as well. Excuse me, sorry. Always seems to happen that as soon as I start talking on these videos, my voice gets all croaky. I don't know why that happens. But the next part, the last bit of instruction really is how to finish it off, and I will definitely come back and show you that. I think then that'll probably be the last part of this video, so I'd like to get that done today if I can. The other part was yesterday, and I stitched last night, and I've been out most of the day today, which is Thursday, and it's now later in the afternoon. I've got a little bit of time before I need to start sorting out tea. Went to visit my mum and my stepdad, who both got some chest infection things, so I made them a big pot of vegetable soup and some pasties, which we had for lunch, which were nice vegetable pasties, and left them to it this afternoon. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. I hope you're all good. Like I said, we are a bit of a sunnier day today. Nice for a change. Well, massive thunderstorm last night. I think just as I was finishing off here. I'm not going to wrap anymore. I'm going to see how it looks. I'll just put a pin in that again like I did before and keep going. Okay, I don't think I can tell you anything more than what I already have. It's just a matter of working out the shape as to where you position the cord. So if you want it to come up sharper, you would bring it in. If you want it to go out wider, you would take it out somewhere in the middle. It'll probably just keep going the way it is. All right, be back soon. Well, I'm nearly finished, and I just thought as I get to this end part here, I wanted to talk to you about how I finish it off. So cutting the cord, cut the cord, that sounded weird. I'm going to now unravel this a little bit, because what I'm going to do is cut it on an angle so that it flattens out slightly. So it's not hard to cut. So you've got that angle of on the end, and the same how we started, wrap the end so that it tucks the end of the cord in and the end of the fabric. A bit fiddly for a minute, just play with it and you'll get it. Just do that. Once you get stitching, you'll be able to catch all of that in. So yeah, so it tucks the end in here. Hold it with a pin till we get there. And that will be the end of the bowl. So yeah, I'm almost done, and I'm really happy with the size. It's exactly what I wanted to have on my sewing table next to my couch where I have my little bits and pieces. It's just for my thread snips that when I'm finishing off something, that's all it's for. It's not for holding any other types of scraps or things. It's just for my threads. So yeah, hopefully you've had a go at it, or you might another day, you might be just watching it and be thinking about it and have another go. If you were doing it on the sewing machine, for those of you who want to, once you zigzag your flat bit, what you need to do is tip it slightly as you're machining it so that you get that, that curve. And it's not hard to do. You just keep tipping it up and the needle is going in here just exactly the same way that you're doing it by hand, really. I just wanted to do this one by hand. More and more I'm enjoying making things just by hand stitching things and transferring those machine skills that I already had to hand. I'll tell you in a minute how big it is when we're almost there. I'm not a very fast stitcher, in case you hadn't noticed. I'm quite slow actually, but as I said, I'm okay with taking my time, enjoying the process, having a little daydream or watching a video while I'm listening to a video while I'm doing it. That's my little downtime. And then once this is done, I'll be able to get onto my next page for the Roxy's Journal of Stitchery, the volume 6 field notes, which is butterflies and bugs and things. So yeah, I'm going to have a go. I've got sort of thoughts in my head. I just need to get it planned out now as to how I'm going to tackle it. But whenever I do something for one of the projects, I try and challenge myself a little bit in practicing, trying out new techniques. And that keeps me thinking all the time. But while it's easy enough to copy, and the girls certainly encourage you to have a go at what they're doing, and I would do the same with what I do. I don't care. I don't mind if people want to copy what I do. I think at this point we all have different threads, different fabrics. We have a different eye for some things, so that even while you're inspired by someone's work and it may feel like you're just doing exactly what they do, you'll never reproduce it unless you had the thing in front of you and you took a pattern off it. I doubt very much you'll get something that might look similar, but I don't think you'll get exactly the same. So, but anyway, that's beside the point. I'm happy to share my ideas and have no problem with that. I certainly find inspiration from all sorts of places, so if I can inspire someone as well, I'm very happy about that, that's for sure. I just want this last bit of thread to last, but it keeps coming undone, coming out of this needle. this needle's been quite nice to use. I have no idea what it is, but it's quite a strong needle with a decent eye. It's not too big. It's got a nice point on it, so it's sharp. It goes through the thread and the cord without any problem, no strain whatsoever. It's very easy to use. It's a little bit awkward at times when you're trying to go round and round in a circle, but on the whole, it's the needle makes it very easy because it just goes straight through. It's good. And like I said, I learnt to do this on the machine from someone else. While there's no actual pattern or written instructions about it, I did do it as a sewing day, where Rosalie talked us through the process, and from there have been able to make quite a few as gifts. Makes a nice gift. People use them for all different things. At the time when I did it, my daughter was pregnant with her first child, who's now 9, so it's been a while since I did it. I made her one of those baskets just for little baby things near a change table, and I think she still uses it for something. And then once I started following Rachel, I noticed that she was using hers for like a little scrap bowl on her art table, and I thought, oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to use mine for. All right, this is just fiddly while you make sure your bits of fabric fit inside, catching the ends, making sure they're all caught. Oh, this bit of thread is probably not going to see me through. Oh, isn't that annoying? About 3 stitches to go. Let's see. It's just because it's a big needle. All right, keeping those ends tucked in nice and neat so they don't come out. That side is all right. This side was a bit more rustic looking. But that little slant on the rope, I mean, you're always going to get a bump. That's just how it goes. This one does the same. This one isn't even as good as what I've made this one. So depending on, I was trying to, make sure that you guys saw something a bit neater. Oh, this bit of thread's just really not going to last, I don't think. How annoying. Because I just want to tuck that bit in there. Make sure it stays. Oh, I'm hoping. Oh, now all of a sudden it's hard to pull when I've said to you it was as easy as anything. Yeah, I'm close to being done. Ooh. Can I just make this? Can I make it? Hopefully I can. All right, I'm going to... Oh, no way. Pick it up there, tuck it down. And what I've done to finish off is I've just tracked along underneath the fabric layer, really, and pulling that through so that the end just comes in there, tucks in tight. If I had a bit longer thread, I could maybe have a play with it, but really I don't mind that it does that. I think if we wanted it to be, oh, there's a bit of thread there that I could have used. Oh, isn't that annoying? Can I pull it through? I might be able to. Don't really need a bobbly bit there. Where was that last stitch? Nope, that's not it. Good. Where there's a will, there's a way. All right, I think it's that bit there. Sorry, me doing a running repair while I'm talking to you. All right, now, are you going to pull through? No, why won't you? Come on, behave, we're on screen. Annoying, annoying. There, that one. Is that going to be the one? No, can't make that pull through. Oh, there. Now this one. Oh, you silly thing. No. All right, I'm going to pull. Is it going to matter? Can I just pretend it's not there? I'm going to for now. I don't need to fiddle with that while I'm on screen with you. So I'm very happy with the size. That's the difference. Like I said, it's going to be next to me on the couch. This one is like there, nearly 4 inches across. The base was only about 2 and a bit, 2¼ inches before I started making it go up. How many rounds have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 rounds of cord. What I measured when I was cutting these strips, they're about 50 centimetres long, and I've used now 7. So that's 3½ metres of the fabric and the cord. So that's it. If you're wanting to make an oval, I'll pin it to the board here and show you where I'm going with that. Let me just get rid of some of that mess. It's the same process. It's just that you're going to do, sorry, I nearly started off with a circle. You're going to lay the thread beside each other, depending on how big an oval you want it to be. I'll just pin it into the board here. That will hold it. So 2 straight edges like that. And then you just start adding it like that, doing much the same thing till you've got a base the size that you'd like. Let me put it in here so that I'm not trying to hold it down. Stitching them together exactly the same way. Fold it around, and then when you're ready to start coming up, the same thing. You know, start balancing the cord on top of itself. You can have a gradual increase or a steeper one, depending on what you want to do. There we go. Okay, I hope that you have enjoyed this video and that you would like to see more things that I have a yen to make by hand. I don't have anything up my sleeve right at this second, so that's all right. I've got a couple of bits of project stuff. I'm hoping to think about doing the Just Because quilt that Corinne's doing on her channel, To Be Loved Treasures by Corinne. And so I've got a few things up my sleeve, but that's it for me. Okay, take care. Enjoy your day. Bye.